as clean as it possibly can be. And joining me right now is Heather Loebner. She's the Executive Director of Corporate Responsibility for ArcelorMittal, and also Amy McGovern with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Thank you so much, Heather and Amy, for joining me right now. I appreciate it. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about ArcelorMittal and why it's so invested in Great Lakes causes.
Sure, I would be glad to, and thank you for having us. So first of all, ArcelorMittal is a steel manufacturing company and a mining organization. And for those of you who don't know, we're actually surround the basin on both the U.S. and Canada sides. So we have 9 sites across the whole Great Lakes watershed and about 20,000 employees. We use water in the manufacturing process. It's actually the 3rd most significant resource we use. And we also use water to ship both raw material and finished product across the basin. So to us, obviously, we know it's so critical of a resource to us as a business, to our employees, and to our communities.
So the company has been involved in Great Lakes causes for quite a while now then.
Yes. So we actually joined on with 5 federal partners, including the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Foundation, EPA, NOAA, and others. And then the program that we joined with is coordinated by the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. The program, called Sustain Our Great Lakes, is a binational public-private partnership. And when we joined on in 2007, the federal partners had already been working together. We then brought private dollars, which were able to leverage both public and private funding. And to us, this is an incredible program because we're able to not only leverage our funding resources, but also our knowledge bases.
And how much funding are we talking about for what kind of projects?
Right. So over the last year, since the program's inception, we have made 167 grants, which equal a total conservation on-the-ground impact of almost $60 million.
Which is an amazing contribution. So tell me, Amy, then, when you're going ahead and you start looking at projects that need to get done and need to be restored, what kind of boost is that?
It's fantastic. I know with the infusion of the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative money and the really unique partnership that we have with industry and with the other agencies, we're all sitting around the table making decisions about those projects that will improve the ecology of the Great Lakes. And it's a really enjoyable thing to do. And we look at really what's going to impact fish and wildlife, but also communities to help them, get out and improve the resource as well.
All right, so can you talk to us a little about the projects that you're working on right now, specifically that people who maybe live around the Great Lakes, they might say, I know that area. What are you working on?
Sure, I'd be glad to. And here in Ohio, we have funded some work around the Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, which is just west of here, but it's really important work because we're looking at how the nutrients are coming into western Lake Erie and really causing some of these algal bloom problems that we're seeing in the summer. You get the icky green stuff that you see on top of the water.
I know, we like to call that a technical term, the icky green stuff, right?
And that's really prompted by phosphorus runoff and from multiple sources. But working to restore wetlands in that area will help the problem. And we're working with the refuge, the Fish and Wildlife Refuge there, Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, and creating, you could call it a buffer area of wetland restoration that will really improve that overland flow of phosphorus into the lake.
Let me ask you, when you say wetlands restoration, what is the actual process to restore a wetland?
It could be as simple as removing tile from agricultural land. So, you have tile that's running water off of agricultural land, and we can work with landowners to help them implement practices that will remove the tile, and it will restore a natural hydrologic regime on its own. I mean, it's very simple. It can be very simple. But of course, a lot of cooperation in that effort. And in addition to the work that we're doing in Ohio, we're doing a lot of aquatic connectivity restoration, really looking at wildlife corridors and specifically fish passage. So work that would be sort of aquatic connectivity related could be removing a dam, a big dam or a little dam, or as easy as replacing a culvert, a pipe that is perched above the stream and the fish can't get from one side to the other. So doing some really great work in opening up fish passage in Great Lakes tributaries.
You know, it's sometimes little details that you don't even think of when you talk about Great Lakes restoration, or it's sometimes hard for people to kind of wrap their mind around all the little things that need to be done to help out with the health of the Great Lakes. And a lot of times we do depend on the federal government, a lot of the government agencies to do that. But with private investment coming from ArcelorMittal, it must make a big difference in terms of your company and knowing that you're helping out where you're working and where you're doing your business.
Yes, for certain it does. It was really important when we came into the partnership that our communities would be supported, and I think hopefully that's one thing we brought to the program, both on the U.S. and Canada side, so we're very excited about that.
What about the education, Amy, of people around some of the areas that the restoration projects are happening right now? Is it easier to get the public engaged in what's happening?
In certain areas, definitely. I mean, they really are, they have an investment in the Great Lakes. Of course, it's a most beautiful, wonderful resource. You know, we would say we're from around here, but, you know, they really feel a connection to it. And those folks that live along the coastline are really active in cleaning up beaches and getting out there and helping to control invasive species on their beaches. So we have had a great response from communities that want to be involved.
We often say that we hope our collaboration with our program also creates and supports and endorses the collaboration on the ground with residents, different NGOs, and nonprofits.
You know, because again, I think it sometimes can be hard for people to relate, and that's what I love about Great Lakes Week, when you see all of these different environmental organizations and you see what they're working on and you see what they're doing in conjunction with the government agencies. It really is an awareness, and what we're trying to do by making sure that people at home start to understand a lot of the issues and a lot of the projects that are out there. What can we expect now in the next couple of years from Sustain Our Great Lakes? You want to take it? Either one of you can answer.
Go ahead. I'll add to it.
Yes, please. Okay. So I think that we, so from an ArcelorMittal perspective, we committed $4.2 million over 6 years. And I think we're in year 4 or 5 now. So we don't see an end to this. Unfortunately, the lakes are great and vast, and that's the beauty of them, but they also have great need. And so we hope to continue on in the program and build capacity on the ground so that we can continue to make a difference and preserve the jewel that we have out there.
And Heather, you're so right, and I'm sure Amy would agree, the work is never done.
I agree. There's plenty left to do, I have to say.
So tell us, in the next couple of years, what do you foresee for this program?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative support for the region has been incredible, and we increased our support for on-the-ground restoration 5-fold because of that. And so we hope, you know, that continues into the future. We are in year 3 of the initiative right now, and here to talk about it this week and all of our coordination, but plenty of acres and miles restored, fish passage improved. The performance measures are incredible, so we can hope to continue the good work.
And it's great to see, and congratulations on all the good work that you are doing. Amy McGovern, Heather Loebner, thanks so much for joining us on Great Lakes Now. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of Great Lakes.